All right. The Chicago White Sox GM episode. Drum roll, please. 2023, their payroll was $163 million. They slashed that by about 40. $128.1 million is their projected 2024 payroll. Transactions so far, they declined a $15 million option on Liam Hendriks, who had to undergo Tommy John surgery. He's shooting for a trade deadline return. Kind of makes sense that he would just remain a free agent and sign if he is healthy around that time. They declined $14 million on Tim Anderson. They declined $12 million on Mike Clevinger. Sorry, Clevinger declined $12 million. They traded Aaron Bummer to Atlanta for every 40-man crunch guy ever. Mike Soroka, Jared Schuster, Nicky Lopez, Braden Shoemake, and then Riley Gowans. They signed Paul DeJong to a one-year, $1.75 million deal. They signed Eric Fetty, the reigning KBO MVP, to a 2-year, $15 million deal. They take Shane Drohan in the Rule 5 draft. They purchase Max Stassi from Atlanta. They signed Martin Maldonado to one for $4.25 million. They signed Tim Hill, 1 year, $1.8 million, and they signed Chris Flexen for $1.75 million. It's a weird offseason.
Yeah. I honestly don't hate it. Like, I honestly think that considering where they're at, and, I think it's becoming abundantly clear that Dylan Cease is going to end up getting moves at the deadline. So
yes,
it just seems like that's the case. And honestly, if they truly, based on, and Getz now being at the helm, I have a little bit more faith in, their decision-making. If they truly believe that Cease is going to be better in the first half, then I get it. What? Have an exorbitant asking price as if he was pitching the way you think he's going to pitch. And look, it's a gamble, but in the state that they're in right now, why not take that gamble? At least on opening day, you have a legitimate bona fide ace. Mm-hmm. And, you can say you gave it the college try in the first half. Like, there's still talent in this lineup. You still have Luis Robert. You still have Eloy Jimenez. You're hoping that Benintendi can, provide a little bit more. Andrew Vaughn is still a young, interesting player. You hope that Moncada can bounce back. Look, I don't think any of these things or I think some of these things are going to happen. But at the end of the day, like, they can give it the college try in the first half. And again, I think it's a lot less appealing to fans when you trade Cease away and you look at opening day and your starter would be what? Michael Kopech. So,
right.
I think from that lens, I get it. So we're not going to trade him yet, I guess would be the thing.
We're not going to trade him.
About the offseason is that, they did go get some vets that they could flip. And we always talk about flippable vets. Max Stassi was hurt all year and then dealt with, some serious personal issues that, now he's available and back. This guy was really good for some stretches. He's only 32. He's going to be 33, early in the season. Let's see what he can do. That could be a bounce back candidate. Maldonado, if he doesn't absolutely stink, someone will trade for him at some point. Paul DeJong, reclamation season here. He's 30. We know what he's capable of. If he bounces back, sure, flip him. Nicky Lopez, same story. And then with the pitching side, like Soroka, why not? It's probably going to be a lost season. Let's see what a 26-year-old Soroka can do when he's in the rotation every fifth day. He didn't get a consistent chance because, one, he didn't look like he was ready for that. But two, because the Braves couldn't afford for him to go through struggles at the big league level. Chris Flexen, same story. 6 ERA. We've seen better. Let's see what happens. And then Fetty. Again, he was the MVP in the KBO, or the NPB, KBO. KBO. NPB would be crazy. He'd be getting the Yamamoto money.
Right.
No, but I think it's fine given that they're in really year one of a rebuild in my eyes, because the last couple of years it wasn't a rebuild. They were trying to win. It just was a really, really poor effort at it.
Right. And they didn't tear it down as effectively as they should have at the deadline if they wanted to start this rebuild a couple of months ago. I agree. I think they are doing a good job laying the foundation for a rebuild. I think they had a really good deadline, and we talked about that at the deadline. Like, getting Nastrini and Jordan Leisure for Lance Lynn at the time, and Joe Kelly, that was a heist, man. Eater for Berger really hurts, obviously. That was the one that they clearly lost, I think. But, man, getting Corey Lee back for Kendall Graveman was, decent. That guy's a third catcher, it seems. Maybe even a backup catcher for a little bit.
Maybe backup, yeah.
Maybe backup, sure. I'll run through it position by position, but frankly, we're not going to make this team that much better because we know the direction that they are in. I am big on the flippable candidates thing, and I think there's a place to add even more. But Maldonado, Stassi, Corey Lee, they signed Chucky Robinson. Eventually, you have Edgar Caro, who's likely up middle of 2025. The catching situation's fine for this year. Andrew Vaughn is the first baseman. Gavin Sheets. I'll ask you because I know that there is a certain subset of White Sox fans that are in love with Tim Elko. Is the Tim Elko hive real? Can he be a Major League Baseball player?
I think he can be a Major League Baseball player. I think people need to realize that he's a 24-year-old first baseman. Last year, he hits the living crap out of the ball though, and anybody that hits the ball as hard as he does, like, I'm interested. But he chases a bunch and he whiffs a bunch. So I'm gonna say it's an uphill battle for him. But when he hit the ball that hard, I'm always willing to see what happens.
Yeah. Second base, Nicky Lopez, but Lenin Sosa and Jose Rodriguez as his backups. Lenin Sosa, are you buying the uptick, or do you think that this guy's like, I don't know, flash in the pan has passed him by?
I think there's an everyday second baseman here. I still think he can figure it out. Like he slugged still last year. Just the approach kind of went to the wayside, and I mean, he was 23. I think that if he doesn't do it this year, then we'll see. But 52 game sample, he was really bad. I get it, but I'd like to see another look. I think that there's a chance that there could be an everyday second baseman here. At the very least, you got a utility guy. I think he's better than what we saw, and he put up some decent numbers in AAA.
Right. Shortstop, DeYoung, Nicky, Romy Gonzalez, Braden Shoemake. I think Braden Shoemake should actually get some run here. I mean, but like, dude, he was a good college player. He was never bad in the minor leagues. Like he was never good enough to be a top 100 prospect. Don't get it twisted. I don't even think he was good enough to be like a top 5-7 prospect in the Braves organization that historically like has not been a great farm system in recent years when Shoemake was making his way through. Having said that, that guy screams third middle infielder. Give him an opportunity on a team that's going to be really bad this year. DeYoung, obviously you want to build up his trade stock, but like give him some days off or give DeYoung some days at second or third and have Shoemake play shortstop. You should give this guy the chance to see what you have, considering I think you've already given Romy Gonzalez plenty of run, and you've already given who else, man? Who else needs run? Nobody.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Lenin get a little bit more run, but again,
Sure.
I think he could show some things at the AAA level, to be honest, and improve there, like with the approach, and then you could bring him up. I think that the thing with DeYoung, like I'm hoping he bounces back and you can flip him, but I mean, he got worse and worse and worse as the year went on. So like if he doesn't look good out of the gate, like I'd cut that experiment quickly, because there's other guys that, like you said, I'd like to see a little bit more opportunity to just see what they can do. And I think Shoemake is probably that first candidate to get a look. Like he's barely played. He's only had, I think, 4 plate appearances at the big league level. He's fast. He's scrappy. There's not much there offensively. I think he's mostly a bench piece as is. So yeah, they're going to have to kind of figure out who's worth the bench piece, the bench spot, and who they want to get more regular reps to.
Yeah, Moncada is owed $24 million this year. There's a club option at 25 that will be declined as quickly as you can say the word decline. How quickly can Brian Ramos be ready?
I think he could be ready by the end of this year. If he stays healthy. It's been injuries. There's some unique things that he needs to, work on a little bit. I think velocity from, specifically right-handers has chewed him up a little bit, but yeah, he was hurt, bounced back. I liked what I saw in the AFL. He's not even 22 yet. Put up good numbers in AA even after a late start. I think he could be up by the very end of this year, or second half of this year. If he puts up the numbers, I think he can.
Cool. Outfield lacks some serious depth. Luis Roberts, obviously a superstar. Andrew Benintendi is going to have a spot every day. Oscar Colas, this is a big year 2 for him. Yeah. Gavin Sheets is the backup guy in the corner. I'm factoring in Eloy Jimenez as the DH. I don't think that guy should play the field. Like he just clearly keeps getting hurt there. After that, Romy Gonzalez, Brett Phillips, who signed a minor league deal, Winton Bernard, who signed a minor league deal. Like there can be some fun clubhouse guys that you run out as fifth outfielders, but this year, I think if you are looking at the White Sox outfield for one thing, it's obviously enjoyment of Luis Robert, but the second thing should be seeing the maturation of Oscar Colas. If that guy doesn't take a step this year, you got to really consider how he factors into the White Sox future.
I'm with you. That's a big X factor here for the
Huge.
future of the White Sox because of what he can do, what we have seen him do, and what he didn't do last year. I mean, it's all about the bat. He's not going to defend that well for you, so he's got to hit, and he just didn't hit last year. He was fine when he went back to AAA, but he's super aggressive. I still think he could be really good. So I'm excited to see him get kind of lower pressure, like everyday reps out there. I will say though, dude, like I don't really understand the roster spot for Gavin Sheets anymore. I think he's kind of a clogger at this point. And
Mhm.
I mean, I don't even think you can trade him. Like, but you also can't really cut him. But that's a spot where like I'd rather have somebody with some upside or, I want more unpredictability. Like I want more volatility here
Yeah.
at this spot. Like I don't want to know for sure that I'm getting no defense and you're hoping for league average offense. I think it's possible to get league average offense. But like, could you package him somewhere, like to send him somewhere? I don't even know if anybody would want him.
What do you
I
get? Yeah, like
was
I don't.
like, yeah,
We'd be putting
they have
together.
enough like fringe pitchers, so it's like, yeah, what are you gonna do?
That's the thing. Like we'd be putting together a deal for a high A guy, and I'm just like, I don't think we need to
Don't
do
need to
that
waste
right now.
everybody's time on that. But
Right.
I will say I'd want to clear that spot. I'd rather give that spot to somebody else.
Can that somebody else be Aaron Hicks?
Yeah, I mean, I do think they have room for one more reclamation project.
Yeah.
And I would rather be Aaron Hicks because, like, again, yes, you could say, okay, Gavin Sheets could bounce back and be worth a little bit more. So that's the thing, though. He has control. If he does put up a league average offensive season, then you could. But at the same time, the defensive ability of this outfield's not great. Colas can't defend. Benintendi's meh. And then you got Robert in center, but
Who's a Gold Glover?
it
Right.
would be nice to have a fourth outfielder here that could go get it. And then especially if Colas struggles, or if you just don't want Colas left on left, like they also need somebody that could spell some of these. I mean, they have 2 out of their 3 outfielders are left-handed hitters, and then Sheets, the other outfielder off the bench, who's not really an outfielder, but they shoehorn him out there, is a lefty.
Okay. So brain blast here. We're talking about like the so infield and like trying to figure out who the backup is. Why don't you just go try Jurickson Profar? If you sign Profar, who can hop in the outfield and can just like hop everywhere, he's a switch hitter. He provides that right-handed bat.
Yeah,
He might not be good enough defensively.
Yeah, I also hate his defense too. Dude, honestly, Hicks is like a funny one because he crushes from the right side, or at least did last year. Small sample, but did. I mean, this guy had 46 hits and 206 at bats from the left side, and then had 22 hits and 63 at bats from the right side. It seems like he's just got it going on more from the right side at this point. So I kind of like him as someone that can actually play defense for you.
Aaron Hicks, you're a White Sox man.
Yeah, and then can spell the platoon split here.
Flip candidate.
I like it, and a great flip candidate, and a guy that again he produced a positive WAR last year. It was a 1.0 WAR, 109 WRC plus somehow.
Yeah.
So I think that's a perfect get for them.
Sign me up, man. All right, starting rotation. As of right now, Cease, Fetty, Kopech, Soroka, Chris Flexen / Tukey Toussaint / Jared Schuster. Jesse Schulten started games last year. I would prefer not to watch that again. Interesting thing from
Drohan too.
Drohan, I kind of view as like a swingman.
I thought that was the worst Rule 5 pick, I'll be honest.
Okay.
I know he was a popular target, so like no one's gonna say that, but I don't even understand why he was a popular. I don't like what I see there.
You just don't think like the stuff from a pure stuff standpoint?
It's change up dependent lefty. Like the only pitch that he has that's above average is a changeup. It's a really good one, but he doesn't have, I mean, look at the walk rates, and it got worse and worse as the year went on. Fastball got pillaged. So it's just a changeup from the left side. Maybe they saw something that they can develop here, but I thought that there was other guys that they could have went out and got that have a chance at starting. That would have made more sense.
There is a guy internally that has a chance at starting, and Chris Getz was on Zoom earlier this week, and he mentioned this individual's chance at starting. As of right now, the front 4, hell, the front 5 are all right-handed. There is a lefty that is entering camp as a starting pitcher, and that is Garrett Crochet. Getz said Crochet is a starter. We've seen this arc with Kopech. It didn't go well with Michael Kopech. Here's to hoping it can go better with Crochet. Having said all this, Crochet's stuff pre-injury was worlds better than Kopech's when he tried to make this move. It was like sitting 100 pre-injury. Post-injury, he's been 95 to 96, maybe popping 97. If he's fully healthy, he can sit 96, 97, I think. I would love to give that lefty a shot as the 5 at the beginning of the year. And worst case scenario, he ends up back in the bullpen.
Yeah, like why not, right? This is the only time that you can really try it, and not have too much risk there. My only thing that I'm a little concerned about is like you had some velo pops and outings where he was sitting 97, 98, and then on the back half, last 5, 6, 7 outings, it was more 95, 96.
Yeah.
But yeah, that said, he was banged up, and then came back off the injury. So assuming that he's healthy, my thing is like there's this weird infatuation with baseball teams wanting to take their lefties who are super injury prone and put them back in the rotation.
Yeah.
Where we're seeing the Marlins kicking the tires on that with AJ Puck. The Orioles are going to consider that apparently, according to DL Hall, with DL Hall. So that's out of its wild to me. But you know what? In a year like this is a guy that has more upside than pretty much any other arm in your rotation. Fuck it. Let's see what happens.
Fuck it. I agree. Schuster, I'm not ready to call Jared Schuster damaged goods yet.
No, you could develop into a 5.
Yeah, but like we know that the ceiling is totally capped, but for Atlanta to pretty much throw him away as mincemeat, I thought was fascinating. I was like, what did they know that I don't? Because this guy was a fringe top 100 guy going into the year last year. Obviously, he stunk it up at the major league level.
The fastball backed up a little bit. The changeup, it's built on a lot of deception. And I think he just kind of lost his way. And they preferred to, work with a couple other guys. Because I think they knew also that, they couldn't keep the 40-man spot for him. And like, he was going to get picked in the Rule 5 eventually. So I don't think he was Rule 5 eligible this year, but it would have been next year anyway. So it's just one of those spots where I don't think you're going to regret it. You're not going to lose sleep if he develops into the 5 that like he can be. So why not? I love the get for the White Sox because I think it's going to be a revolving door. I think the White Sox lead the league in players who make a start for them this year. And I think that's great. I think that's what you should want it to be. Like again, if Flexen and Soroka look like they're damaged goods at this point, see ya. Bye. Let's try somebody else again. If Kopech looks like you could flip him at some point, trade him. And then keep going. Fedde, again, trade candidate. And then you'll be able to put a bunch of new guys in there. If Davey Garcia looks all right, like throw him in there. If it doesn't work there, then try somebody else. If Crochet doesn't look good, or if he gets hurt, try somebody else. Like they've got like 9, 10 guys that they can try and see what happens.
And dude, we haven't even mentioned Christian Mena, Nick Nastrini, Sean Burke, Jake Eder. I know you're down on Eder, but Nastrini, he was hot and cold at the end of the year. Burke was a guy that a lot of White Sox people enjoyed. Mena, like obviously had the fastball characteristics. There are a lot of options to see who's a big league starting pitcher, all while Davis Martin is recovering from Tommy John. And I think that guy proved that he can be a back end big league starter.
I think Davis Martin might be the most intriguing of
right.
One of the most intriguing of the bunch. Nastrini obviously has some pretty special stuff, but I like Davis a lot, and he could be back by the end of the season as well. So, I mean, I don't really know what you can add here because you want to audition all your different guys. You want to give them opportunities. I really think the only thing left here is maybe one reliever.
I think so. The bullpen sucks.
You don't need Tanner Banks in there. Like, yeah, you can go through it.
No, so it's Gregory Santos who like is legit. I think Santos can be a setup guy in Major League Baseball, and he was really good last year. Yeah, probably. But they have a ton of control, so I understand keeping him for the meantime. Santos, Jimmy Lambert, Tim Hill, Drohan, Tanner Banks, Alex Spees. Give Jordan Leisure a spot like on opening day. Leisure is good enough to be a Major League.
I think they will. Guy. He was in the AFL for a reason.
Yeah, Leisure came over with Nastrini in that Lance Lynn deal. I wrote down 3 names real quick. Just pick one. Flip candidates: Matt Moore, Colin McHugh, Aroldis Chapman. Who do you want to add to the bullpen?
We voted the same names in the last episode.
Did you?
Yeah, legit the same names. I tried to go with Chapman, and Peter said he'd only agree to send Chapman to a team if it's the Angels, which was pretty funny. But
that is good.
Yeah,
the White Sox are kind of the Angels.
I was going to say the White Sox seem like the perfect fit for a guy with character questions and clubhouse questions. Like, why not? No, I feel like they're trying to right the ship now there. I mean, Chapman hasn't done anything for a while. He seems like he's been, trying to, repair that image that he had. And so far, like he's bounced a couple of organizations and we haven't heard anything negative. That's probably the upside play, but I assume he's going to get more money elsewhere, and they're not going to want to pay it to him. McHugh, we gave Matt Moore to somebody else recently. Is there
Did
another
you?
name that you can throw out?
Um, Man, I mean, Zach Greinke, you are a Chicago White Sox. I want to see Zach Greinke somehow try it again this year.
What if I
Carl
told you that I used that name last episode too?
Greinke?
I swear
No,
to
you
God.
didn't. Arizona?
I swear. I said, how about a reunion? Peter's like, I don't need to see another Zach Greinke
Oh,
reunion. So, I mean, we were on the same wavelength here, brother.
man. Other names that jump out to me, Amir Garrett.
That's probably the bounce back candidate that makes the most sense. I say we send him Amir Garrett.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in. Amir Garrett, Michael Givens, another guy,
How
Dinelson
many
Lamet.
years can you be a bounce back candidate before you're just not a bounce back candidate
I
anymore?
think Amir Garrett has hit his threshold of
He's-
being a bounce back.
Yeah. But let's try it.
Let's try it. Amir Garrett, you are a Chicago White Sox. Okay, so man, we added Aaron Hicks and Amir Garrett to the Chicago White Sox. Fine. Cool. All right, we are going to wrap with the Cubs and the Braves. Before that, one more break.